Hi everyone, my name's Karen Huwen and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you loads of different techniques that you can use with your watercolours to create lots of different effects. Enjoy! Hi everyone, so today I'm just going to be doing some basic watercolour techniques, things you need, what we're going to use, and a few different techniques to get different effects. So first of all, I've got my watercolour set, which I got from Amazon. I can't remember what brand they're called, but it says Pretty Excellent. And they're really nice. I'll put the link to where I got them from below. They're very highly pigmented and they work really well. I'm really happy with them, really pleased with the amount of colours and the choice. So there they are. I've been using them pretty much non-stop since I got them. Okay. When I first got them, what I did was it came with a card and I made myself a colour chart, which has been so useful because some of the paints in there, when you look at them when they're just dry, they look all the same, like all the blues, you know, you can't really tell the difference between 4 or 5 of the blues, but as you can see, they're quite different. So this is really useful to do yourself, like in order of the colours on the tin, the colours on the card, and then you can see what colour you want to use. So that's that. This little card came with the tin, so I just filled it in as the first thing I did. Next thing is watercolour paper. You need to use watercolour paper or some kind of thick paper like this. I would say no less than 300 GSM, which I think is like £140, but I'm in the UK, so we don't talk in pounds. And this is just one again that I got from Amazon. There's different ones, and this one has got quite a rough tooth on it, which it says on here somewhere, rough tooth. So it means it's got more of a texture, so the paint grips into it. You can get smoother texture as well, but this is the one I've got. So that's that. And then today I'm going to use a selection of different things. So I've got a big brush. This is a Daler-Rowney number 8 round. It's quite nice, thick, holds lots of water. This is a thin one. It's a number 2 silver black velvet, really fine brush, line work. I've got a straw. I've got masking pen, which again I'll leave a link to the description below. And this water pen, which actually came with the set of paints. So that's that. So let's begin. I just must say, when you tape down your paper using masking tape, it's really important to kind of stick it to your clothes several times to get to take the stickiness away, because otherwise it's just too sticky and it will tear the surface of your paper when you pull it off. So take it off slowly when you peel it off, but don't just peel it off the roll and lay it down, because it will be too sticky. Okay. Handy things to have around. So I've got a little palette, just a little plastic palette, a tissue, 2 pots of water, so one to wash off the colour that I don't want anymore, and one to pick up clean water. So 2 pots of water, and we're going to try a few experiments. So I've got a bit of cling film and some salt, and we'll try lots of different things. Okay, I think that's it, so let's start. So the first one I'm going to wet wet the whole surface just with clear water first of all, like that, and then let's take blue. So got my blue, and you can see it just goes straight into that, into the water, and then you can create a nice gradient. I'll get a bit more blue, so there, and it just flows. And you can just pull it down, so you can see the paint will flow only where the water is. It doesn't like go out into any other area of the paper. It just stays, it contains itself where the water is, and you can see you've got that nice gradient. If it's too wet, or you want to lift some of the paint, so I've just rinsed my brush and wiped it off onto a tissue, you can lift it a bit, so you can see you can lift off some of the colour and make a good gradient. So that's one, that's wet into wet. The next one I'm going to pause for a second because I didn't fill up my water pen. Hold on. Okay, so I've filled my water pen up. If you get one of these, it unscrews the wrong way. I don't know if they're all like that, but this one specifically. So I was trying so hard to unscrew it, and then realised it unscrews the other way. So there we are. So let's do some red for this one. So I'm just doing some red straight out of the paint pan there, and then a water pen and bring it down. Oh, gave it a little squeeze, perhaps too much. So there, I haven't actually used this in painting yet, but there it is. So that's using a water pen, and again it gives a nice gradient. And again, if there's too much water, you could lift some off with just a damp brush. So there's that. Just going to bring some of that paint down. There. So that is a water paint. The next one, I'm just going to prepare this is my masking marker. So while I'm doing these two, I'm just going to make a little flower and literally just draw with it like a felt tip. And it's blue, so you can see where you're putting it, and you just colour it in, and it's liquid rubber, so, and this just repels the paint. A little design in there. Leave that to dry. So next one, this one I will use purple. I'm going to try, I have not used this method yet in actual painting, but we'll find out together how it works. So I'm just applying some purple. And that's fairly wet. I want to do two comparisons. So I've got one there, a wet one, And I'll do another one, I'll do it the same colour so you can make a direct comparison. So one, I'm going to put the salt in straight away while it's really wet, and then we'll see what the difference is. So a bit of salt, so put it on this one straight away that's wet. Okay, that's there, and then let that one dry a tiny bit. Okay, we'll do it now. So I'm just sprinkling it randomly. There we are. Okay, so we'll leave that to dry for a sec and see what happens there. Okay, next up, let's do orange. So I'll do a what am I going to do next? Right, okay. So on dry, so we had wet on wet, so now I didn't wet the paper, and I'm just going to go dry straight onto there. And this is when you can get much finer. You can do some details and like grasses. So there you can see nice detail from that, and that's just dry paper and paint straight onto it like you would any normal sort of paint. Alright, the next one. So the next one is like where you get those blurry backgrounds. So some just plain water, and then get like a lime green. And you can see it just spreads. We'll get a darker green. And I'm just dropping the paint onto the water. And you can see it just spreads out where the water is. And you can dilute it even more by adding just clean water if you want. So there's that, and then we'll do a blend from one colour to another. So I'll go from purple to red. And you can add more depth this side, and add more depth that side, and just spread it. And then you've got a really nice two-tone colour. Okay, is this dry yet? Yes, it is. What colour should we do that one? Let's do it. I'll do a dark colour so you can see the contrast, so I'll do a dark blue. So we've got our masking thing. It feels tacky, but it is dry. And then you just paint, and you can see it's repelled. There. And that's that. So I'll let that dry, and then I'll show you how it peels off. Okay, I'm just going to stop there for a second, let all this dry, then we'll take the salt off the two and we'll see which one worked the best, and we'll rub the masking fluid off. Okay, and then I'll do one more thing. In fact, I forgot the cling film, so I'm going to do this one, which is still quite wet. Make sure it's wet. Okay. I'm just going to wet that down again. And you've got your colours going one into the other, which is great. And then I've got this old, it's right at the end of the roll, so I'm not sure if it's going to actually work very well, but if you kind of like scrunch it up. And we'll pull it around, and it can give an interesting effect. So I'll just let that dry as well. Okay, so I think that's mostly dry. And so the wet on wet, you can see that's just dried. Let's have a look at the salt. So this was salt on drier paint, and if we just move that away, you can see it's made this kind of speckled background. I don't know if you can see that. I'll do a close-up later. And then this was the salt when we put it on when the paint was still much wetter, and if you can see it, I'll lift it up in a sec. It's made this kind of little snowflake, so definitely better to put it on while the paint's quite wet. Well, depending what effect you want, but this is more dramatic than this, which is quite subtle, but it's nice, like a little snowy background. Okay, masking fluid is all dry, and all you do is rub it with a finger, and it comes off. And there's some bits where I obviously didn't do it carefully enough, so do it carefully if you're just going to go straight over the top. But there's that, and that's all come out. You can then go in and paint that a different colour if you wanted to. Wet and dry, that's dried. The water dropped onto wet has made a nice background, like a blurry out of focus photo. Not sure if I should have, I think this cling film actually, because it's on the end of the roll, it wasn't all that sticky, so I think it probably would have been better with the new cling film. So I'll try this again on another video, but let's see. So you can just pull it off, and it gives just interesting abstract effect, like different ones. So if you did a bigger one, you could do like a all over wash and then put it on and let it dry, and it would give you this like textured background. Anyway, so we can now just if you wanted to, now it's wet, so this is how you build up your layers. You can then just go over, let me find a brush, go over this with, I don't know, like dark grey or something. So now you can, you know, paint over it and it won't bleed into the paint. So just make a little So just little kind of Christmas tree scene, I don't know. I'm just so just an impression. Should use the thinner brush, but there we are. So that just shows you can paint over that. Same with the water pen, you can go over that now. So you can go in with a deeper red, make cloudy colour, kind of so you can see you can build up layers as strong as you want, depending how much water. So there's that. As I said, you can paint in here. If you want to, or you can just leave it blank, white, colour of the paper. There's that. Keep that on my brush and we'll put a little shadow on there. There we are. And then here you can do a little flower. So it's like one of those blossom pictures where the background is really faded out. Like that. Let's do a little so you could do like a faded scene. I'm going to dry that off a bit. And then go a bit stronger in the foreground. Seems to warrant a fir tree as it looks Christmassy. With the little snow. I don't like that faded bit, so I'm just going to go straight over it like that. There we are. One last thing is using, you can either use gouache or using acrylic ink. It's just runny white paint like that. And so on this one, if you use a little brush you get little specks. If you use a bigger brush you get bigger specks. So you can do like that. It doesn't have to be white, but I just wanted white to be like a bit snowy on that one. And the other kind of last one that I forgot to do before, so you can do any colour splatters like that, all over, or if you get a really runny bit of paint on your brush like that, then get a straw, and if you blow it really hard you get a nice big splat. If you blow it slower, kind of get less. So like that. So there we are, all those different things that you can apply to all different designs. Hope you've enjoyed that. I think that's everything, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.